been growing tobacco in Nicaragua now, Eliano, for what, 15, 20 years, and we've always used tobacco from Nicaragua. I mean, we were in Nicaragua in the 70s. I mean, when we were in Tampa making long filler handmade cigars, we used tobacco from Nicaragua, Santo Domingo, which is Dominican Republic, and from Honduras. We used tobacco before from Brazil, so I think that, you know, there's certain things that you could do with the land. Chateau La Fuente is unique. The tobacco that comes from there is as unique as the tobacco that Marifel grows in the rainforest in Africa, in Cameroon. It's a unique taste. I cannot duplicate that taste even going 5 miles away from the chateau because we tried, because we would like to make more cigars, but the taste is different. So there are certain places, maybe like Chateau Petrus or Chateau Margaux, that produce a certain taste, and then you have another winemaker just across the street that the soils are different. And Nicaragua has certain soils that are different than Dominican Republic. The tobacco in Nicaragua, to me, it's a little bit more aggressive. I don't know. I don't want to say aggressive in a negative way, but it's known for its heavy peppers and spice, and it can be very aggressive. Tobacco in the Dominican Republic, by nature, the soils is more aromatic and it's more sweeter and it's more noble and feminine. So they're two different things. When I go to Nicaragua, I'm not going to make a Nicaraguan cigar. I'm going to make a Fuente cigar, and I'm going to do it the Fuente way because I have a lot of colleagues that I've known for so many years. We're not going to come to Nicaragua, as some people may be concerned, as one of the big families to come there and start any situations with taking cigar. No, no, we're going to train our own people. The factory has been set up in a way, all the plans and everything. It's a replica of the here we go. It's a replica of the system that we have here in the Dominican Republic. The aging rooms are the same system, it's the same techniques that I believe a lot that instead of like a winemaker, which I was referring to, a Chateau La Fuente, that you have one type of tobacco that produces with one seed, two seed, depending what you do, one style. But realistically, I'm like a chef. Unlike a winemaker that grows the grapes and crushes the juice and ferments the juice, and you mix it all together and it becomes uniform, we blend solids. A quarter of a leaf of this, a leaf and a half of this, a leaf of 1 year with a leaf of another year, a leaf of one position of the plant, a leaf that's in the sun with another leaf that maybe is grown towards the shade, to get complexity and uniformity and taste. We're blending solids, which is very, very difficult. It's not like liquids will make it uniform. So I consider myself like a chef. I think cigar makers, all of us, were more like chefs because we're blending solids, just like a chef, a little parsley, a little oregano, a little garlic, olive oil, all the different things so you could achieve the dimensions. So chef, as a chef, I want to have all the resources of the best tobacco in the world that I could blend, that I could do everything, so I could create more dimensions, more flavor. It's like it's like giving an artist, you know, two paints, black and white. You could create every shade of gray. You could use some beautiful things. But when you give them an array of colors, then they could do more. They could mix colors and you could do different things, which I think is much more exciting for the consumer. And that's what I believe in. I believe that's very important to blend, and as a chef to have the resources that come available. And someday, it's a question that was asked earlier. It could be Cuba to work into our portfolio. It can be. If you love tobacco, you love the leaf. Period. You don't isolate yourself. Listen. And I know there's ladies in the audience, but if you love the natural beauty of a woman, you just don't love the natural beauty of just one woman and despise or dislike every other woman. If you say that, you're not saying the truth. If you love the natural beauty of a woman, as long as she's an adult, it doesn't matter if she's 50 years old, 6 years old, 25 years old, 40 years old. You say, wow. You look at a woman, she catches your attention. It's almost like you feel something. It's like radar. You turn around and you say to yourself, wow, what an elegant and beautiful woman. And I think it's the same thing with a cigar maker. He's a chef and he wants to have access to all these tobaccos.
Thank you very much, Carlito, for the introduction. and for letting us know that. And we'll be waiting for your 5-star Michelin results.
Beautiful,
Thank
bro.
you.
Thank you.
Uh, Walid, you have a question for the trio?
Yes, I mean, I thought you were going to ask it on my behalf, Bassett, but I'll ask it. I'm just wondering, what a powerhouse cigar maker like Arturo Fuente, what your thoughts are for Africa from two perspectives. Firstly, in terms of growth of sales, but then even more importantly, uh, whether you are looking at Africa as a source of the tobacco leaf. That's where my interest is. Thank you.
Well, I could say this: we have supported Africa since the late 70s when the African tobacco became available to us, and I would like Jeremiah to also assist me in this response because during good times and bad times, we've never neglected to turn our back on Africa. My father's favorite leaf was grown in Africa. All the leaves. He thought that leaf was the perfect leaf because blending is very, very treacherous and very complicated. You can have the best tobacco in the world, but it might not blend well with another tobacco. And there's a leaf that's grown in Africa, Central Africa, Cameroon. There's a certain type of tobacco that my father said is the only tobacco that blends well and enhances any blend you can make. And it's one of the most difficult tobaccos to grow. But even when the times when it was not available, we still had inventories. We nursed that tobacco. And I tell you, to be totally honest, the cigar that my grandfather, Arturo Fuente, made after the Cuban embargo, when he was running out of his Cuban leaf, had this wrapper on his cigar. And that cigar was never sold. It was his own personal cigar that he always loved to have something that people couldn't buy and to pass it on to his friend. That tradition passed on to my father and is also now passed on to me. We love to have cigars that are not available so that we could give somebody something special. That cigar was my grandfather Arturo Fuentes' personal reserve. My grandfather passed away at the age of 85. And my father got my grandfather's formula, which my grandfather thought was a perfect cigar back then, without a leaf of Cuban tobacco, which was, to him that was his heritage, everything. And my grandfather was making it in the late 60s and the 70s. And when my grandfather passed away in 73, my father came out with that cigar, and under my grandfather, that's the Flor Fina 858. He named it 858, which represents 85 years from beginning to end. If you look at it any way you look, reverse, so from beginning to end, because my father felt that was a circle that's never going to end. That love, that heritage that he passed on, that cigar has African Cameroon wrapper. Now, that's very important to us. The Reserva Don Carlos, my father's personal cigar, which to most people is the best cigar we make. That's also with African tobacco, African Cameroon. Now, that's my father's personal cigar. He had access to any tobacco from other countries. Why would he use that tobacco? And when that tobacco was not available, we reduced sales to like 1/100th of what the market was asking for because we didn't have that much tobacco, but we did not change it. And I could proudly say that we never changed that cigar nor the 858, those cigars that meant so much and a part of our heritage never changed it, which a lot of companies change to other substitutes, which are not the same. And as far as Africa, Africa's such an incredible and big continent. You know, from the north of its so worlds, it changes from section to section, such a big world. I don't believe that Fuente could truly be a respected worldwide brand unless we have representation in Africa. Of course, I don't expect to sell a lot of cigars. I just want where our babies, each one of these cigars, in the hands that they fall, that they're nursed the same way we nurse them at home, that we gain your respect, that we gain your admiration, that could be the link that joins us together for lifelong friendship. That cigar no matter where it's at, that is treated with respect and prestige. We don't want to be the biggest, but we want to be the best. And to be the best, you have to be represented in the best places in the world. And you cannot be the best unless you have representation in Africa. To me, that's so important to the honor of that I want in my lifetime, the legacy I want to leave my children, and the honor I want to pay for my father who's up in the heavens and my grandfather, to know that their name, because I believe they're watching down, is finally going to be in a place far away that we've never had the opportunity to be at. And to, because nowadays I know that a lot of people are traveling and everything, with the exception of COVID, and you're aware of the brand, but to be represented there with people who care and are friends, that means the world to me. Very important that we develop it, but it's never going to be about numbers. It's going to be about developing a solid relationship and respect, prestige, and that is a win-win for both of us, or all of us.
Fantastic. Thank you. Thank you, Carlito. I have a follow-up question to that one.
Thank you, Waleed. Appreciate it. Great question, sir.
There's a follow-up question to that one.
Thank you, Carlito. Thank you for your answer. Thank you.
Follow-up question to that one, and I'll hand over the mic to Rames. The question is, and I think you've answered it, but it's, so you will definitely look at other opportunities for tobacco in Africa, correct? Apart from Cameroon.
In any place in the world where the tobacco that I think that anyway, with this great tobacco, listen, I still believe that there are places, it's just that maybe it's so difficult to get to, and nobody's really invested the money, because sometimes people try something and they give up too soon because it's too costly. Growing tobaccos, you could grow tobacco in your backyard, but to really make something commercially feasible takes years and years and years and millions and millions and millions and millions of dollars. And it takes an incredible amount of workforce, knowledgeable people. I mean, what's required is so immense that it really, the challenge is so great that the opportunities are not always there. But I really believe there's some place in the world that tobacco hasn't been grown, that's going to produce a flavor, it's going to produce something different, it's going to be so enjoyable to all of us that if it's offered to me, I'm definitely going to want it. I'm going to want it all. I'm going to want it so much that I don't want anybody else to have it, that I want to have it so I could share with the people I love. I mean, I really believe that. I always believe that, because going back to Chateau La Fuente, they said, no, you can't grow wrappers, you know, this and that. It's going to be, there's no logical reason. The Dominican Republic's canoe paddle away from Cuba and everything, the topography, the mountains, the pine trees, the avocados, the mangoes, and you just have to believe and be lucky enough you find the right place. But I really believe that, yes, if there is, of course, no questions asked, in Africa or in Greenland, if somebody could find a way to find some special soil under the snow and the ice and everything, and they could heat it up or do whatever's necessary, I'm open to any opportunity when it comes to taste, aroma, combustion, and to know that, not that it's less money, I don't care how much money it costs, that it enhances or improves anything that I'm doing today. I always believe there's a little magic sparkle, a little magical dust somewhere, some secret ingredient or some little herb or spice that could really contribute to make something very special. So I'm definitely open.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. Rames, you have some questions?
Yes, Bassem, thank you. Good evening, Carlito. Good evening, Jeremiah, and definitely Professor.
Thank you.
Actually, I'm overwhelmed just to be talking to you personally, especially Carlito. Allow me just to say a big thank you for the extension of your line to Ghana to make it closer to us, because definitely it's our choice. Fuente is only a Fuente, and this is 100% true. If you also allow me just to add one thing and just to give you confirmation about how good your cigars are. Believe me, I think you're a magician on a 40 scale, not a normal 2D, your normal 2D scale. What you do, your cigars are just amazing. But what makes them more amazing is this humbleness that you speak with, and this passion. I think whatever you make is going to be a mind blower, as such as what we are having now. Plus, I don't think you can make anything even better, because honestly, it's for me, it's the best. And this is this is a true, my true feeling about the Fuente line. Thank you for being with us and to share more this time with us. I just, actually, I wanted to ask the question about Cuba, but I wanted to ask it from a different perspective from what my colleague asked. I wanted to ask the question of Cuba embargo. So in the case it was lifted, the ban, will we be able to have more of your opuses and your nice lines in Ghana?